She's not coming to work doing anything special, but just the scent of a woman was like, you know, so going through 10 years of that and being Shoma Brisk, you know, so I wasn't looking at no magazines, I wasn't doing none of that, you know. I've got an entirely different understanding of the depth and the complexities and the dynamics of a woman that, you know, it's just not who I am anymore. You know, I just, you know, I'm not a sucker for love, but, you know, I just don't feel that anger and that hatred towards women. As far as the homophobia, I mean, you know, the Torah clearly states that, you know, it's prohibited. You know, I'm not here to judge anybody, but it's none of my business. So I never rapped about what other people do as far as their sexual orientation. I don't care, like, I got other things to worry about. So, you know, I can only speak for me. You know, I'm not the ambassador for hip hop. You know, I speak for the music that I make. And the music that I make, you know, I don't talk about people's sexual orientation. And, you know, it has no misogyny. I don't use the N-word. You know, I don't even really curse. You know, I drop F-bombs here and there, like just to make a point, like F Dick Cheney. You know. But there's no conflict. You know, when Moshe Rabbeinu, you gotta remember, Moshe was dealing with a rough crowd. Like the Israelites wasn't no suckers, man. Like in the wilderness, snakes, surrounding nations. This is a tough crew. They marshaling through the wilderness, like, you know, destroying the biggest armies. They were tough. So I'm sure Moshe used some harsh language. You know, maybe not as harsh as, you know, as the hip hoppers, but you know, it was rough. It was rough back then. You know? It wasn't good.
When did you become religious?
Again, you know, religious is
Were you raised Jewish?
No, my parents weren't religious at all. My mom wasn't religious. But again, early on in my life, no, it's a fine question, no problem. No big deal. Early on in my life, like I said, when I was dodging bullets, right? You know, it's like Moshe Rabbeinu. That's why I chose the name Moshe, right? Like, nothing I do is just haphazard. So check this out, right? Moshe was going to be Pharaoh. He wasn't no regular dude. Like, he wasn't the dude that came and cleaned the palace. He was going to be Pharaoh. He was going to be the ruler of Mitzrayim, right? And he woke up and saw, you know, an Egyptian doing something to one of his brothers, and he just knew in his soul, man, it ain't right, man, I ain't with it. And he started talking, he killed the Egyptian, he started talking to Hashem like, all right, this is what I did, where we gonna go from here, man? What, you know, what's up? Straight like that, like, who is he to talk to Hashem, like, you know? And that's how it came about for me. Like, you know, I'm not saying that I'm a sage, you know, a prophet or anything of the like, but, you know, when bullets were flying by my head and blood was gushing from my shoulder, you know, I said, yo, what's going on? The same thing my grandmother told me to talk to you. You the guy that did with Moses and you did with David. What's up? Help me. What am I supposed to do?
So is that when you started becoming?
Yeah. You know, so like I said, when I was dodging bullets and I was, you know, stepping over dead bodies, that's when I started calling out to Hashem. And now it doesn't mean religious in the sense of, you know, being a Halayic Jew. Because again, it tells you that the sages, the biggest sages, Akiva, Shimon HaSadiq, David, everybody prayed an hour before they did chakras. So this was my beginning. And then my chakras came a little bit later. So it was a big stretch between my hour prayer and my chakras. But I started my prayer, my tefillah, doing those years.
But if you started like being more religious then and observing and started...
Not even observing, just making a connection with
So when did you start observing Shabbat?
I became Shemesh about 7 years ago.
Okay.
You know, and again, it came about organically. It didn't come about because a rabbi told me, or it didn't come about because, you know, anybody was pushing it to me. I was a multimillionaire, you know, even in prison, #1 albums, I could do whatever I want. I could go either way. But for me, you know, I'm also a person that, you know, got a little bit of brains, and I study people a lot. I read Warren Buffett, I read, you know, Jack Welch, you know, I read all of the biggest guys ever. on this earth. Benjamin Franklin, I study everybody, history, everything. And everything pales in comparison to the science of Judaism. You know, so. And again, when I was in prison and I would go to the yard on Friday night, and I'm ending up cursing at people. All week I'm good, I'm a boss, I'm falling back, everything is chill. And all of a sudden Friday night come and I go outside and somebody want to knock my head off. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like, and then I read about it and it tells you Friday night, Saturday night, this is what's happening in planets and celestial activities.
Why did you go to jail?
I was defending myself. Somebody tried to kill me. So I had to try to kill them. They didn't die, but you know, I had to defend myself. Kind of like people on the West Bank, you know, have to defend themselves in Israel, you know, the whole, you know. Anyway, I mean, I'm sure if somebody walked in here right now and pulled out a gun, you know, Jeff is going to jump at him. The rabbi back there with the long pads, he's going to grab him on his foot and they're going to beat him down. Like, or they're going to do something to him. You know, that's human, that's just a human way to be. I'm sorry,
Would you mind rapping for us or letting us hear some music?
oh, man, I don't know, man. I don't know, man. I have, you know, I'm sanitizing stuff right now, so I don't know, you know, everything that hurt, you know, because like I said, I'm hard on Rush Limbaugh. I'm hard on, you know, all these right-wing hard, you know, to the right guys. So I'll be cursing them out, you know, because I can't do a lot of things. I don't do drugs. I'm showing bliss, so I gotta express myself somewhere. So I'll be cursing them out. So I'm trying to figure that out. So I don't know if I can perform right now without cursing. So if I'm getting filmed, this might end up on YouTube. They gonna call me and be like, yo, what you was doing in television, cursing all this shit?
Please. What was your like most popular song back in the day?
A song called Bad Boy.
Can we hear a little?
No, maybe I'll do something new. Let me just think.
Bad Boy. What year was Bad Boy?
Every line.
90 what?
98.
No, I know. Every line is like a swear word there?
Huh? No, not every line. Let me warm up. You know? It takes me
back in the day when you were talking about how you thought you were a good guy and you would do things for your friends and you help them out, you were talking about one of your examples of if somebody needed shoes, you go get Jordans for them, or how would you justify you being a good guy, stealing from somebody else who might need them for your friends?
Who did I steal from? I never said I stole from anybody.
Oh.
I said if a kid needed Jordans,
Yeah.
and if we were selling drugs or we were doing whatever,
Yeah.
rather than him follow the path that we were doing,
Oh,
we already gone.
okay.
We're already gone, you know, so, you know, there's no justification for what we're doing as far as not stealing, but even selling drugs. There's no justification for it. But it's even worse to bring somebody off the derrick with you. You understand? So my whole thing was I can't save me, but I can save him. So that's being a good guy, because the only reason I was doing what I was doing is I got tired of eating bread and sugar. Don't like it. You try it for a couple of years and you tell me how I feel. You understand? I mean, ultimately I stopped and I found a way. I started delivering messages and I went straight, I went clean. But until I found my way out of that, my thing was, you know what? They don't even make their way into that. So that's how I knew I was good, because a regular guy would be like, yo, shorty, here, take this package. I know when the police come, they're not gonna check you because you're young. So hold this cocaine. That's what they do.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, it was like, no, man, get out of here. Whatever you need, I'll give to you. Please don't be like me. So I think that's a good guy.
What religion were your parents raised?
Again, my mother was Jewish. She was non-religious. You know?
Right.
She believed in God, in Moses, and David, and like that's the end of.
Did you celebrate Christmas or did you celebrate Hanukkah?
Celebrated nothing. She was not religious.
Okay.
And growing up, you didn't celebrate anything?
Nothing.
Was your father?
My father, I didn't know my father. I didn't really have a relationship with my pops until later on in my life.
But when people asked you, like,
Are you Jewish? I just like.
Like, from where I'm from, people don't ask that question. Oh, you talking about now? You
No,
talking about when I was
back
young?
in the day.
Back in the day, nobody don't care about it. We live in a godless world. People don't ask religious questions. Like, people are like, yo, what's up? Where they selling, you know, cocaine at for this price? Because over there, they ripping me off. You know how to get another connect? That's the question. Those are the conversations. Where, yo, you know how to get a gun? Because I got to go do this work, and my other gun, it got too many bodies on it, so I need a new gun. Those are the conversations we have. We don't have religious conversations. I'm sorry.
In terms of how you live your life now, how you carry yourself, how would you think it would have been differently without prison?
No, prison had nothing to do with where I am now. Before I went to prison, I turned my life around.
So it wasn't like you found
going
it.
to prison was a very sad, you know, situation. Like, I really turned my life around. I got a record deal. You know, became a millionaire at 18. The whole dream, you know, from delivering messages as a messenger boy. So I used to sling crack on the streets, gunslinger, crack slinger, got shot, made a promise to a Shyne, made a convent. I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna chill, just get me out of this situation. He got me out of the situation, didn't get caught for doing anything, didn't end up my whole family dead. So I went to high school, graduated high school. The day I graduated high school, I bought an 18-speed bike, and I became a messenger boy, and I was delivering packages around Manhattan because I promised I wouldn't sell drugs and I wouldn't do anything that was contrary to the promise I made to Hashem. So while I was delivering messages and girls was laughing at me and dudes was trying to run me over with their fancy cars, all of a sudden music just started coming to me. Long story short, I would be going into the big major recording companies, delivering messages, and you know, going at the A&R like, yo man, I'm telling you, I got that business, check this out. And one thing led to another, and I got a record deal, became a millionaire. And then, you know, I know you probably heard of Jennifer Lopez, Puff Daddy. You know, I was with them one night in a club, and people, you know, guys that I knew that were murderers were about to, you know, probably wouldn't have been no Jillian, no Ben Affleck, would have got no action if it wasn't for me. You understand? And I had to defend myself. I had to defend myself, I had to defend my friends. It's not something that I romanticize. It's not something that I promote. I'm sorry, you know, well, the guy that tried to kill me, I'm not sure how sorry I am that he got shot. And that's not something for us to really get into. It was somebody trying to kill us, you know. But again, it was a terrible tragedy. You know, it was a terrible tragedy. And, you know, I'm sorry it happened. And, you know, I moved on with my life. But before that, I was cool. You know, I actually, you know, when I became, you know, when I got that paper and I became into that life, I went off the derrick a little bit, but the crazy thing is, I turned it around real quick. I'm a quick guy. Jeff was just telling me that earlier. He said, you get the signals real quick. Like, I know when I'm heading into the brick wall. And I got enough brains to like stop right before I'm about to crash. And I'm like, nah, and I turn around. So like I turned the car around and I was headed back in the right direction. And as soon as I did that, that's when I had to start paying tikkun. So crazy things would start happening. I'm like, yo, come on, man. When I had guns, nobody was acting crazy. When I was chasing the girls, I couldn't find them. Now they all chasing me. Oh, what's going on? You know, but I turned it around and then this unfortunate situation happened. But I kept going. I didn't let it deter me. You know, like I really became Shomer Brisk after that. Like I got arrested, I got bailed out, and I was like, yo, not even to be hasid. It was never to be righteous. It was never to be better than nobody. It was just I knew the science on how to get things to go in my favor. So I said, yo, listen, I ain't gonna touch you. You know I love women. I'm gonna fall back off of them. I'm gonna fall back off of this. I'm gonna fall back off of that. You just make sure my album come out. And I sell 1 million records and I become one of the biggest musicians. Alright? Alright. And that's how it happened. So I chilled for an entire year, no women, no nothing. Fasted 48 hours every week, and by the time the end of the year came, sold 1 million records, had a #1 album. You know, so I turned around very, very, very early and went off, came back on. So me going to prison was actually the crowning point. I see you, brother. I'm gonna get you. I'm sorry.